All right, and continuing with this series here, we're going to be talking about the Studio Composite Paradox Parker rods. And just like all the Studio Composite that come in, we want to put out and be experts in each of these rods series and let you know our thoughts as well as applications, as well as just the overall specs, because it is hard to find. The Studio Composite being a Japanese company, we're so fortunate to be able to work with them and bring these into the United States here. So last video we did the Nico Rig Special. This one here is going to be the Drop Shot Special. So this is the Paradox Parker 6.2DS, made in Japan. These are going to be incredible rods. Now this isn't just a drop shot rod. There's a lot of different things you can do with this rod. We're going to be going over the blank specifics, the guide specifics, as well as overall construction. So let's go ahead and hop into it. Again, Paradox Parker 6.2 DS drop shot special rod. So on paper here, what they say, this is going to be rated for PE number 1, which is essentially in the US market a 10 to 12 pound braided line and a 6-pound monofilament. So one thing I highly suggest with this rod that you don't do is do the power finesse thing where you have really thin braid to a big leader. That is not what this rod is for. I would say if you are running a leader, don't run anything more than really 14-pound line for your fluorocarbon. This has a lot smaller guide train compared to a lot of US rods, and it can't really handle especially bigger knots. Like obviously if you're tying an FG, you probably should be tying an FG. If you aren't, you're missing out. Even with these smaller guides, it has incredible casting. One thing that really ruins it is that bigger line and bigger knot. So in that regard, make sure you're staying very, very tightly to the specs on this rod. Again, don't use anything bigger than 10, and I wouldn't say anything bigger than 14, maybe even like 12-pound fluorocarbon for this specific rod here. One key difference between this rod and a lot of the other Studio Composites that I've held and compared to a lot of American rods, this is a very short handle. If you're a kayak guy and you want to finesse fish, this is the rod for you. It has a very, very short handle. Let me hold it up here next to the Nico Rig rod. You're gonna lose a little bit. You're gonna lose maybe 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch on that handle itself. Just being an overall shorter rod, I think that's why they did that. You know, even though a lot of guys here in America are gonna be using this off a boat or usually cruising around where they have more space, this handle is still a little bit short. Again, 6'2", I'm almost the same height as this rod. This rod really, really excels again in that ultra finessey stuff. So more specs about this rod, just like all Studio Composite, it is a 2-piece rod in the Paradox line, not all Studio Composite, but in the Paradox line, this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guides plus a tip, so 8 guides overall. And this rod, when it comes to the overall bend curve, it is a very true medium light to medium light tip section. This rod uses a very ultra thin tip section that is ultra sensitive, able to detect some of those really minuscule ultra light bites. The other thing about this being a really thin blank, it is a true kind of medium bend. It is a full parabolic rod, which is great for not the big hook sets. You don't want to jack on them with this one. You want to just keep reeling and maybe a slight pull to get that hook in them. So I highly suggest using sized hooks, not 1/0, 2/0, 3/0, but size 1. Like size 2 and 3 are going to be the most comfortable for me on this rod. Size 3 and size 2 are going to be that good middle ground or that really good starting point. You don't want a big hook on this. I'm sure it can handle it, but don't throw anything too big. Again, 1/4 ounce is the max they say on this one. So 1/4 ounce drop shot sinker is actually very heavy, and I would really suggest anything under that. Like 3/16 is what I would personally max this rod at in terms of the sinker. Again, going back to the overall curvature of this rod, this is an amazing moving bait style rod for some of your like really finesse-y crankbaits, like the ultra small Griffins. The Griffin BFS is a great rod on this one, especially if you're making like those really tight target casts. Again, that handle really assists in the movement on this rod. And as usual, let's go ahead, hold this rod up here. let you see some of that carbon in there. I really like, again, the smaller handle up top. It really lets you get a good grip on the overall rod, feels close to the blank, and again, with that two-piece construction, it is very, very durable, so you shouldn't have any issues there. And I am sure I will get a lot of questions over the warranty on these rods. What we do ask is that if anything does happen, it is covered by a manufacturer warranty. However, that's where the process gets a little more difficult, because we're gonna have to get the rod or have you ship it over to Japan for them to look at, inspect, or fix anything that might be under manufacturer warranty. So hopefully nothing happens. When we reach that bridge, we will be able to assist you as much as we can in shipping the rods back over, or figuring out a way to help you out with the rods, because I know that's going to be a lot of questions on the YouTube video here, as well as I get that question asked a lot. So the drop shot special, I'm not sure why I put it down. Again, very, very light, size 2 or size 3 hooks, very light braided line, and I highly suggest using like 6, even 8-pound line. When you look at the conversion between like JDM line and American line, this is where it can get a little iffy as well. I would say, like, as a baseline Seagar Smackdown, I would use like 8 to 10 pound. I would barely use 10 pound on this one. When you're looking at specific JDM line, like even the Cast X12 braid, Seagar PE-X8, use the ones rated for those, like that 10 pound or even 8 pound on really, really ultra thin stuff. The Cast X12, I think the 12 pound is really, really good. So definitely keep that in mind as we talk about kind of like the overall pound strengths for your braided line. So we've got one more in the spinning series for Paradox Parker, as well as a couple other ones that we're going to record here at the same exact time and put them all up. So I hope you enjoyed a little more information on the Paradox Parker 6'2" DS drop shot special rod, and we will see you in the next video.